What is up, everyone? It is me, Robo, and this is Left Face TV. How are the leftovers doing? The fuck is Taco Belk? You don't know what Taco Belk is? I thought you knew. I thought you were like one of the ones that knew what Taco Belk was. But I guess not. I guess I was wrong. Um, I hope everybody is doing wonderful. How am I sounding? My mic, my sound system does this weird thing where like it gives me like a cutoff. Is my sound cutting off or anything like that? And I don't know where it's coming from. And it went away when I reinstalled my stuff, and then it came back. Well, excuse me. Yeah, of course. Everybody loves home cooked meals. But let's be real. It really depends on who's home and who's cooking. We just can't be out there calling everything delicious home cooked meals because some people can't stand reverb. Huh? Let's see. What is there anything else bouncing? Shouldn't be. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Does anybody else hear a reverb? Does it sound weird when I talk? So I'm afraid if I fuck with it too much, it's gonna. Kinda, huh? Kinda. That's good. That's good. I wish there was a way to do like. Oh, you know what? Let me try this out. Look. No, I don't have no effects on. I don't do effects. Oh, that's good. All right, I'm gonna shut down Wave, and I'm gonna start it back up, which I'm pretty sure is a pretty stupid thing to do in the middle of a live stream. Like I turn the volume up. Test. What about here? What about here? Here. It's kind of like it's like cutting me off. It's like there's a gate on here, but I don't have a gate on. Is that better? Do I sound better now? But I'm quieter, right? Because I can see the green's not coming up all the way for some reason. This is just fucking pissing me off. I hate this shit so much. I'm gonna win the lottery and I'm just gonna hire a sound. Hey, come run some wires. Just come run some wires. Come fix this shit and then run it. You don't even have to be here. Every week. Just whenever I stream, which is like it should be every week, but it's not. It's better. All right. Man, I gotta be honest with y'all. Lefticons, the Lefticons. What were the other ones called? Autobots. Yeah, Leftobots. That doesn't. I mean, I am Robo. But the Leftobots are the bad guys. I think I might. Oh, man, dude. I think we might just go with the leftovers. We'll see. It's like fetch. It's either we can either make it happen or it's not. All right. Robo and the leftovers. Because it's not like I'm like they call their show the leftovers. We're calling the people who watch this show the leftovers. You know what I'm saying? I like that. It's growing on me. But so I gotta tell y'all something. I am not sure. I got a text message from Cypher one time. So like I've been like more, digging into politics and trying to be better and trying to be, woke, right? Finding my inner woke child for a while now. And I had already been on this journey when I first met Cypher. Leftrons. Yeah, maybe Leftrons. That could work. I don't know. You know what? I think y'all should figure it out. And then whatever sticks amongst you all, that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like a nickname. Gundam Left Wing. Viola, what's up? Oh, early. 8 plus 6 is 14, so 2 a.m. Are you up late or up early? Are you up late or up early? So Chris Cypher of Cypher World, and as many of y'all know, and I said, and he asked me, he goes, this Trump thing, what are you tripping? Or, what do you think? Is it going to be bad, you think? And I'm going to be honest with you. I said it's going to be bad, obviously. I think everybody knows and everybody knew it was going to be bad. But I told him, I said, it's not going to be the end of the world, man. I said, this country has been through worse. People have been through worse. And I think we'll be all right. I think we're going to be okay. But as much as I don't want to be a doomer, it really, if this sounds doomerish, if this seems like defeatist, what I'm just know that I'm not trying to sound defeatist. I'm trying to like really impress upon people that I hope there is nobody staying home. Everybody has different abilities, different time, capabilities. Maybe if you work 14 hours a day, I don't expect you guys to freaking, then do community organizing for the 2 hours you have. I get it. But if you have the time, I really believe, I don't like words like unprecedented, because I think when people say unprecedented, they forgot we owned, like this country was ran by people who owned slaves. like unprecedented. You used to be able to beat your wife like you used to beat your child. They were the same, like that. So we've definitely been in the worst place as a country, but I would say in modern history, in my lifetime, I was born in 1980, and it was I would definitely say we're in unprecedented times. And I think I've talked about this before, but I have to say it again. There is a very common thing amongst people of color, right? Black and brown folks, who we like to make fun of white liberals, and there's this thing that I still continue to hear to this day, where I hear people say, this is just another Tuesday for us, right? This is just another Wednesday. It's nothing. Oh, you're scared now? We've been scared for 400 years. And I get it, right? We all know what Samuel Jackson told Leonardo DiCaprio when he was having trouble, with his lines and saying the N-word. And it's just, don't worry about me. This is another Monday for me. Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Now, next time I say it's got to be Thursday and Friday. I don't think that's true anymore. I think that we are someplace new. And the idea that where we're at is anywhere close to where we would be at had Harris won, I think is a pretty ridiculous statement. I still maintain that if you couldn't bring yourself to vote for somebody who would not step away from a genocide, I still respect that. Y'all don't have to. I do. I think that if you're going to have a line on the ground, it's going to be genocide. I think genocide's a pretty fucking good one. So I think about the silly analogy sometimes. Like, I imagine being in Nazi Germany and, there's this person who's going to do everything Hitler's going to do, but is going to be nicer to the Romani and the queer folks. Like, this person's going to do everything the same as Hitler, but he's going to be really nice to queer folks and the Romani folks. Like, do you still vote for that guy? Like, Auschwitz is going to happen. Everything's going to happen the same. But he's technically, so I get it. I get it. I understand not shoot them too. Exactly. What? Wait, what? What? Clarify. I hate those people that pretend slavery just ended the day it was officially abolished, and then from then on it was a blank slate. No, 100%, 100%, 100%. So my main point is that what we're going to talk about today is things that I think we've all been hearing in the news, but it is the reason why we are in unprecedented times. Because what we're talking about is shipping out. Like, you started with this spectrum of evil, right? We first bad is we look at everybody who's entered this country and you don't have your papers, right? You're not documented. Never mind that you're still taxed. A lot of these people are taxed using fake social security numbers in ways that they're never even going to be able to get paid from it. They get taxed on income tax. They get taxed if they buy a car and their vehicle registration. They pay billions of dollars in taxes as a whole, is undocumented people. But never mind that. Never mind the fact that they are that population is much lower crime rate than American citizens. Never mind that. For us as a people to look at that whole population. And by the way, I know in the United States of America, we like to think about Mexicans. There's not just Mexicans, not just Hondurans. We're talking about Haitians. We're talking about Dominicans. We're talking about various African countries, from the Sudan, from Ethiopia. Shit, just recently we had a German dude deported who was here undocumented. My ex-wife's husband is Greek. He got deported. This is a long time ago, though. But I'm just saying, like, it's not just the people here who are here undocumented are not just Mexicans. This affects all of us. And so that's bad. That's already bad. Like, wow, you're shit. You're a fucking piece of shit. You're not gonna, if you're a criminal, okay, whatever. Like, if you're an actual criminal. But now we're at a point where it's like, you know what? I don't even give a fuck if you're here legally or not. If you're here on student visa and you're not acting how I want you to act, you're gone. Oh, are you a permanent resident with an actual green card, a legal, documented immigrant that gets a tax number, that comes here and works and lives their life? Maybe you're married to a U.S. citizen, and you're gone. What about a legal resident? What about a legal resident that didn't commit a crime, wasn't a Free Palestine protester, and was a complete accident? Like, oh fuck, we deported him? No criminal record. Well, we got to get something. There has to be something. Oh, cool. Look at this fucking traffic violation. Look at this profile that the FBI said that maybe he was in a gang, but then they found out he wasn't in a gang and they actually has no criminal record. Fuck it. But wait. There's more. I think up until this point, right, what I've been saying, up until this point, I'm like, well, it's funny you say that. It's funny you say that. It's funny you say that. Because up until this point, I'm already sick, obviously, right? We're all sick. We're all sitting here, right? The whole world. Like, this is what people don't understand. It's like, even when you're not in the United States, even if you've never been to the United States, you understand what such a disgustingly wealthy, powerful country could do to the world. We're talking about economic collapse. We're talking about, look what's happening. All he had to do was shut down U.S. aid. A part of the federal government, an organization, in the federal government that, hey, let's help out some poorer countries. Let's send out vaccines and condoms and health and yada yada yada, and we'll give some money to Doctors Without Borders. And we shut that down, and death toll goes up. Children death toll goes up, like, because these are countries that couldn't do it on their own, and we said nah. So there's this idea is like this whole thing behind American exceptionalism, and I've talked about this before. But there's this idea behind American exceptionalism where we like to say that shit, right? And it is, right? In the context of we are better than everybody else. That shit, right? Our education level is fucking not near the top. Our fucking quality of life, our medicine, our, infant mortality rate. Like, if we are the best, how are we not number one in all these things? We've all seen the clip from some show and the guy talking to somebody about why we're not the greatest nation. We've all seen it. And it's true. But I think people take that, right? They take that and we go, yeah, America's not the greatest nation. You guys need to fucking lower your volume, right? We say that. And we forget one little detail. We are the most powerful country on this planet. And that's not a good thing. That's not a point of pride. That's not a yeah, but it's a horrifying thing when you look at the history of what we've done with that power. And right now, we have somebody at the helm who is an absolutely decrepit human being. Like, if I believed in souls, there is no fucking way I would believe he had one. Mojo Quinn. Thank you. I appreciate it. I need to update those sound bites because he's definitely said a lot more dumb shit since then. I appreciate the Bezos bucks. Yeah, Amazon donos. Appreciate it. Thank you. So yeah, so now we have somebody at the helm who is a decrepit human being. And anybody who thinks that we are not in an extremely disproportionate amount of power, in relation to our allies, is wrong. And I'm not even talking about just wealth. We're talking about military power. Like, we have been building this for 400 years, and I'm telling you, the people, look, they're not geniuses, they're not gods. Fuck the Constitution. Start over. I don't give a fuck. But when you look at where we're at today, and you understand how this ball got started rolling, those are some fucking smart motherfuckers. And when I say smart, I mean, like the way that, you know, I don't know. I don't know. Like a bad thing. Like a bad thing. Like not good. Because think about who they were. Like think about where we're going and what we've done and who they were. Right? Women couldn't vote. Obviously they came here with slaves, so slaves weren't going to get a vote. White dudes couldn't vote unless you owned land, right? This was like the most purest of elitist oligarchy. It started as an oligarchy, and people were like, "Oh my God, like, what's going on? It's an oligarchy." The founding fathers started this country as an oligarchy. You weren't even allowed to have a say in the government unless you owned land. What's going on, Ben Frank? And so, why would anybody think that where we're at today was not planned? There's a thing we always say when we see injustice in the courts. When we look at injustice in the courts, when we look at when something failed, you know, there's a thing that is commonly said because it is powerful and it is true, even if it's said a lot. We say, what do we say? We go, the system isn't broken. The system is operating exactly how it was designed. We know that's true. We are here today with Elon Musk and Donald Trump and the other billionaires setting themselves up to be wealthier than they've ever been before. And every other country's billionaires set to ride those coattails because their principles are literally only about their money. Capitalism is their god. They worship Mammon. No, I don't think they worship him literally. Just speaking metaphorically. And I'm just people need to fight. And I'm not saying like what way to fight, because I'm going to be honest with y'all, and this is not me avoiding TOS or anything like that. Like I'm being legit. Like I don't know. Tomorrow there's an election in my DSA chapter, and I'm running for co-chair of the steering committee. And there's 3 people running, and we've all agreed that whoever isn't one of the co-chairs, there's 2 seats, is going to be the secretary. So I'm on the steering committee board for my local chapter, but you know, the nature of the DSA is, you know, we're not Black Bloc, you know, we're not you know, what the Black Bloc Antifa were doing, you know, during 2020. Nobody in DSA is running out setting cars on fire or anything like that. But we do want to make sure that we have a movement. But are we naive? Is it supposed to be? Are we supposed to be Luigi? Are we supposed to be Che? How do we fucking do? Or what are we supposed to fucking do? I don't know, but it's got to be something. It can't be nothing. It cannot be nothing. One problem we got is that European right-wingers like to suck POTUS's dick. So, for example, in such a bad stroke of luck, we had a right-wing president here when Bush was president over there. So some Spanish military personnel was sent to Iraq. Yep. We sent people to kill innocents on false weapons of mass destruction claims, and we lost people of our own. Absolutely. Yeah. And I'll tell you. I'm telling you that it is all based off of greed and power. Like the people who that president, you know, that Spanish president, like if you are right wing, right? That's just the nature of being right wing. I don't care what anybody says. As a matter of fact, I don't give a fuck what textbooks say about this. You know, small government and limited. Blah, 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 blah. I don't give a fuck what any of that says, because I'll tell you right now, the only thing you need to know about what is right wing, it is pure, unadulterated greed, a strict adherence to a chauvinistic tradition that is always going to be inherently misogynistic, homophobic, queerphobic, xenophobic. And it is the center of it, that God in the middle of all right-wing ideology is greed. Now the adherence underneath that, maybe that doesn't have to be pure greed, right? Because we know, for some fucking reason they have, well, we know why actually, but you have, good old boys and middle American Bible Belt people thinking that the Republican Party and people on the right and conservatives are like the salt of the earth people, right? Those are the workers, even though it is leftist. It is the leftist. The entire move behind leftism. I mean, this is why it has to be demonized in the West. This is why it has to be demonized in the West. The entire structure surrounding socialism is power to the worker. They can't have that. They can't have that. So we fuck Cuba, we fuck Venezuela, and we make sure that we spend 40, 50, 60 years equating what happened with Nazi Germany and communism, and they're the same. They're the same. But when you look at right-wingers, they have, the top is literally, how do we get rich? That's it. Now, Democratic Party's the same way. That's why when you start reading the law, and this is for those who don't understand, Consistent Mike, what's going on? Jerry Stokes, what's up? Welcome back. When you start learning more and more, right? It's kind of like a pulling back the curtain. I was doing an intake with somebody new, a new DSA member yesterday, and we were bullshitting. It was pretty cool because we got to do it over Marvel Rivals because he said he played Marvel Rivals. I'm like, well, shit, I play Marvel Rivals. Let's have some fun with this intake, and we actually did it over playing Marvel Rivals. And one of the things that I remember we talked about was like, what do I, one of the things I said was, people like to pretend like, oh, what do you, ex-Christians, like, what do you miss about religion? Nothing. I'm so glad I left that shit. Like, I don't think you're being, I don't believe you. I'll tell you what I miss. I miss the idea, thinking that I might see the people I've lost one day. I miss the comfort of knowing that, if I believed in a God right now, I try every day. I fail, but I try to be a good man. I try to spend the rest of my life as if karma was real and I have a lot of work to do. But I know when I'm dead, it's done. I miss that comfort. I miss the idea that I'm going to see loved ones one day and that there's more after this. There's another thing I miss. What I miss is back when I was a dumb fuck conservative and I thought everybody was, I'm just like, oh, okay, come on. It's not that bad. Like, oh, you guys are such weirdos. I remember Occupy Wall Street. I was a whole ass Republican military member. Occupy Wall Street. Do these people not have jobs? How do you just fucking camp all day? Fucking, I was that stupid. I'd fight. Me and my younger self would fight. He'd probably win though, so it's a good thing time travel's not real. But we have to demonize them. How do you go about trying to convince American conservatives they're wrong? What changed you? What makes and that's the key. Yes, that is a very, very good question. Damn bots, yeah. Republicans in disguise. This is a very, very, very good question, and I talk about it often. I don't like that it's behind the chat. Why is it doing that? I gotta go find it. Chat box. Oh, you're all the way on top. Feature chat. Let's move that up. Boom. All right. Sorry, it bugged me. Saw it in my eyes, and I had to change it. So, I'm gonna upset my wife, and I'm gonna tell you all a little secret, babe. If you're watching, I'm sorry. My first marriage ended because I cheated. Um, and obviously, I'm not the same person at all. My daughter was dating somebody, and it was going like it was not good. And I remember telling her, I said, "Listen, when somebody tells you who they are, you have to believe them. No, like he's sorry, and I understand. And I wasn't perfect either, and I'm like, but you saw, like, he's cheating. Like you caught them. Like you saw the messages. Like he's cheating on you, and he's said mean ass shit." And he's like, "Yeah, but he was just being dumb, and he's, we've talked about it, and I'm gonna give him a chance." And I'm like, do you hear yourself? Like, I'm not mad at you. I'm not trying to like shame you. I'm just like, I don't. You're my daughter. I love you. I don't want you to be hurt. I need you to stop, and I need you to hear yourself. And you know what she told me? She said, "You changed. Why can't he?" And I hated that. I fucking hated that. How do we convince a conservative? How do people that are so like everything is completely opposed to what is good? And what I had to tell her was, I said, "Okay, you know what? Yeah, checkmate." Yeah. Um, More like check, because I was able to get out of there. It didn't stop there. You know me. Even if she was right, I wouldn't have stopped there. But no. um, I said, "Celeste, we're talking years. I lost my family. Like me and your mom got a divorce, and we were both in the Air Force. And what happened a couple short years later? She gets stationed on the other side of the country, and watching my two babies, who I had been with, saying, I like, if I was bad at a lot of things in my life, but one thing that I tried to be was a good father. I failed at it a lot, but I at least my intentions were good. And when they moved, I lived in Washington State. They moved to Florida. Was like it was like if you saw me, you would have thought they died. I couldn't fucking breathe as they drove away. And there was a lot of hitting rock bottom, living in a fucking, a small ass shitty apartment, after living with dual income military, and because most of my money's going to child support, which I was totally fine with. But I realized how much I destroyed my life. But more than that, actually, that was the least of it. I watched my daughter grow up with her behavior issues, and the kind of behavior issues they had, I knew was because of me. Like I knew it was my fault. People are like, "Oh, you don't got to blame yourself. People have to take responsibility." No, 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 no. Look at the dude she's dating. Look what happens to her. It is not an accident that these are the things that I did to her mom. The things that she tolerates is the things that her mom tolerated for 9 years. I know this is my fault. And so me and my daughter, like, she's 23 now, right? And we have both cried. I've held her, and we have both cried. And I would tell her over and over. Every time she lives with her mom in Greece right now, and every time we talk, there's always something. Me and Maneater, we went to Paris for her honeymoon, and since my daughter was in Greece for the last couple of days, she popped over and met us for the last 2 days, and it happened then too. There's always a time where we, like, especially if there's alcohol involved. where we're gonna have this tearful, like, and I'm like, I am so fucking sorry. So I told her, I said, well, okay, so why am I doing this whole like trauma dump? Because of, like I said, I told Celeste, what was the fucking process to get there? You know, this dude just got caught. He's caught. He's crying. That's not rock bottom. That's not. You can't go through a human change like that, like overnight. You know what I mean? Conservatives are. You're either never gonna get there, or it's going to take a lot of loss, a lot of pain, and just this ability to wake up if you were not born into it. You know, some people were born into it, and I hear these stories a lot. Whenever you hear about like, you know, oh, how I left the neo-Nazis or how I left the KKK, listen to their stories, and a lot of these people did not come from families of KKK and neo-Nazis. You know what I mean? Many of them did, but I noticed like a lot of them are like, oh, you were defiant, and you kind of like were able to break out of that and fall back on, you know, what you originally were taught. You know, but when you're born into this, and since the day you can hear, like every, you know, before you can even understand your parents' language, and as you grow up, you are fed that the liberals just want handouts. They're godless. We have to pray for them. They want to kill babies. You know, they just want this nation to become disobedient to God. Like everything that the Christian right teaches is that, and this is why I'm telling you, this is all ties in together. Like I know I can be a little cringe with my anti-theism and stuff like that. It all ties in together because this all feeds each other. Like, how do you get a Christian to stop being a Christian? How do you, or let's not even go that far. How do you get a Christian who believes that a certain thing they believe, they attach it to their eternal salvation? How do you get them to unhook that? You know, I'm like, hey, there's nothing wrong with being gay. And they have to sit there and they have to go, I'm pretty sure God says he can't be gay. Well, I mean, does he though? Fuck. My pastor says it. My pastor has a degree in divinity. Like, if I'm wrong, I'm fucked. And then their pastor teaches them, right? They all get taught the same thing. If you doubt yourself, that is Satan attacking you. So it's fixed in a way to where if you start being convincing, that's going to work against you. Because the minute you start making good arguments, the minute you could make them go, damn, he has a point. Guess what's going to talk? He's going to hear the since childhood, by the way, since childhood, since the story of Adam and Eve, and you were coloring in the coloring book, since childhood, they taught you the very first story. The story they teach you in kindergarten, preschool, Sunday school. What do they say? That the enemy is convincing. He is the master of deceit. And it sounds like any other bad guy, right? You just say, you know, oh yeah, I mean that's their villain. No. This is to build that wall against anyone who's gonna be there to tell you the truth. Because the minute you start making sense, then that thing that has been built there since childhood, if they start making sense, that's Satan. You don't want to be tricked, do you? You don't want to lose eternal salvation, do you? These conservatives are the way that they are, right? And when I say conservatives here, I'm talking about like the base, the way the common folk, the Bible Belt people. Because they have been raised to hook conservative values, right? They take the Republican Party and they go, the Republican Party, even if Trump is bad, even if Trump is an adulterer, even if we're blowing up the world, even if they're anti-war, the Republican Party is that. You know what it's like? It's like, imagine in Sunday school, the first thing we were taught was Genesis. But what is where's the story of the Garden of Eden? This is Genesis chapter 2, verse 1. Not to be a buzzkill because you're spitting red. Look, in conclusion, well, here, let me see what this is. Your experience is super valid and it worked out. However, I don't want to diminish the value of your experiences. We need something like that, but easier and more digestible. Yeah, no, my message was not, here's how to do it. My message is, I don't see it happening, but for very, very few people. That's my main point. You're right. It's not easy and it's not digestible. But again, these people literally believe that if they do not vote for Republicans, they're going to hell. I want you to think about, I know you're not American, for everybody else, like, I want you to think about the leftist. I want you to think about, and when I say leftist, I don't even mean like me, like DSA leftist. I mean the leftist that's like, all state is bad, all like no currency, no class, right? Communist, anarchist, leftist. And I want you to imagine that person voting for the Democrat. Like even me, I voted for Harrison because I was in a swing state of Georgia. And I was like, ugh, man, this sucks. Because she was a supporter of genocide. But I knew she was going to be better than Trump at least. But it still did not feel good voting for genocide. For somebody who was going to commit genocide. That's how Christians look at Republicans. Some Christians. They're like, yeah, I mean, it's not great, but who else is out there? Who else is going to be out there fighting for the unborn child? Who else is going to be out there fighting to protect my children from the homosexual agenda? You know what I mean? And so maybe everything else is non-Christian, but look, it's the best we got. This is the best we got. You're not changing these people. That's my point. You're not changing these people. So really what you got to do is you got to work on people, when they're young, right? And that's why I said, because we cannot expect or wait for 100 million people to experience this. We need a pill, metaphorical, to feed them for the first few weeks until they turn progressive, something like a red. Well, shit. Well, they need a black pill. They need to be black pilled against conservatism. But I'm gonna actually tell you what one answer is, and it's an answer that people don't like, and it's the answer that people who know how to play the long game. When does religion start? When did they get you? Do they wait till you're an adult and can make an informed decision on which religion you want to follow? When did they start? You know? Why does the military fund, cartoons like G.I. Joe? You know what I'm saying? It is not an accident that propaganda starts when you are a fucking baby as a child. That is not an accident. It's not an accident that churches fund preschools and toddler daycares at church and sing Jesus stories before you don't even have the brain material to conceptualize a God. They're still, Jesus loves you. Jesus loves you. And so I said this before, and I remember somebody got mad at me because they're like, somebody got mad at me in chat because they're like, well, this is the type of shit they're going to use. I don't give a fuck. And what I said was, the right are always talking about how we're coming for their children. We're coming for their children. Just leave the children alone. And I'd say, you know what we need to stop doing? We need to stop pretending like we're not. I am coming for your children. Nope, not in the way you think, you pervert, because everything to these people is about sex. Because, every accusation is a confession to these fucking pervs. But I am coming for your children. And I promise you, I don't give a fuck who they are. If I'm sitting in my front yard and some neighborhood kids, you know how kids are when they going up and down the street and like, hey, that's a cool dog, yeah. And if they fucking say anything, if they see a sticker on my car and they're like, I'll tell them. Now I'm not gonna fucking like, hey, come here, kid. But I tell you what, I told my mom. Me and my mom got into it. Huh? It's 9:30. You said it's 11. Oh, let me see. Hold on. I'm still waiting. Hopefully, it won't be much longer. We were 10 minutes ago. People so hungry. I should have cooked. Can't pet the dog. Oh, what is he gone? He left. Both those dogs are so attached to Maneater. It's not even fair. It's not fair. Hey kid, have you heard the good word socialism? For real. Me and my mom had a little argument, and I'm like, I guess I'm telling you right now, because I have a niece. I have a niece, and I know what she's growing up with right now, and I hate it. I'll tell you what, I will absolutely, first chance I get, I'm gonna tell my niece, nothing wrong with being gay. Nothing wrong with being trans. Grandma and grandpa, your mom and dad, they're both wrong. And they can get mad. But that's the answer. That is the answer. Now, the reason I'm going to tell you something, and then we're going to get into videos. We're going to get into videos. But for real in conclusion, if I didn't say it before, I'm saying it again. For real in conclusion, the reason why it sounds so weird whenever we say like we're coming for your kids, I'm gonna get your kids, I'm gonna convince your kids, is because, again, I'm gonna go back to the same thing. Every accusation is a confession, right? There's even if you're not actually, even if they're not actually an actual, PDF file, you know what I mean? Even if they're not that, that's always on their mind. There's such a sexually repressed, backwards, and I'm talking about like far right Christian fundamentalists. Not even far right, just right wing Christian fundamentalists are so ass backwards. These are people who think that masturbating's wrong. These are people that I had an argument while I was a Christian on one of my deployments with another Christian who was saying that lust is a sin. And I'm saying, well, you can lust for your wife. Like, nope, you're not supposed to. I'm like, are you telling me that if I go to my tent right now and I beat my meat thinking about my wife, I'm sinning? I'm a Christian, right? And he's like, yep, because that's not how you're supposed to think of your wife. And I'm like, wow, that's wild. And I take that knowledge to mean to now atheism, to realize you better let, I do. You know I do. Get a room. I take that knowledge with me, and I'm like, man, these are people who, a lot of them don't even think you're supposed to lust after your wife. You can have sex with your wife, but sex is for making babies. You know what I mean? And it's just wild. It's just wild. And so they become sexually repressed. So, but what I'm saying is, obviously, I'm not saying like go out and whisper, hey, kid, hey, just so you know, being gay is okay. And then run away. Yeah, of course that's creepy. But you know what you're going to do? You're going to be a good example. You're going to be a good teacher. You know what I mean? If you have a child in your life, if you are somebody's uncle, if you are somebody's uncle, aunt, relative, of no specific gender, if you have contact with children in your life, talk to them. Talk to them. Do you have a neighbor's kid that is always hanging out with you when you're doing the lawn? You know what I mean? Being an annoying little shit. Talk to him. Be like, oh, hey, you got any friends? Da, 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 da. And maybe maybe they say, maybe my mommy said being gay is wrong. What are you supposed to do? You know what they tell you you're supposed to do? Here, I'm gonna end with this right here. And I'm done playing. I'm done playing by their rules. But what I am gonna do is I'm gonna use the same rules they have for themselves, right? Because let me tell you something. I'm an atheist, right? I'm an atheist, and low key, I'm an anti-theist. But I'm not. I don't get all weird about like, oh, if you believe in God, whatever, right? Just be a good person, right? But my personal opinion is I think that believing in stuff is, anyways, this is a whole nother conversation. Bottom line is, I'm an atheist. So my kids are adults now, but they're atheists. And if we decide to adopt, that kid will be atheist. Let me ask y'all a question. When my 8-year-old atheist child goes over to my neighbor and tells my neighbor or my aunt or their grandma or their teacher or whatever, whoever the fuck, random person on the bus, if my 8-year-old atheist child says, I don't think Jesus is real, how many people think that a Christian is going to go, okay, sorry, okay, well, that's between you and your mommy and daddy. That's fine. Fuck no. Fuck no. Not one Christian will say, I'm going to mind my own business. And that's what I'm talking about. There is not a Christian person, I don't have one Christian family member who would ever mind their fucking business. So I'm not going to mind mine. Because every single one of these people know that if I had an 8-year-old that was raised to not believe in God, because I don't even have to teach him there's no God. This is how you know there's no God. If you never take them to a church, they won't even think there's a God. There's nothing that tells anybody there's a God except for other people. But if that's how I raised my kid, there is not one fucking Christian, especially on the right wing. And by the way, this is Democrats too, this is left Christians, because Christians believe that is what's called the Great Commission. So if you have the Great Commission, you are supposed to spread the word. That is like one of the main rules of Jesus, is to love your neighbor and spread the word of God. That is what you're supposed to do. And to them, that's a good thing because you're saving souls, right? But what if I want my child to, no, I don't want her exposed. I don't want them to exposed to that. No. I think that's you being a bad parent, and I'm gonna make sure. What would they say? With zero sense of self-awareness at all, they will absolutely tell you, I'm gonna make sure that your child goes to heaven. Well, guess what? I'm gonna make sure your child doesn't grow up to be a fucking homophobe. How about that? How about that? All right. Was I talking for an hour? I wasn't talking for an hour. That's kind of wild. The Great Commission worked out during the Crusades. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Except all the lords and fucking all the lords, the Pope, and everybody else fucking knew exactly what it was. It was to steal. It was to gain land and wealth. And all the peasants, all the foot soldiers who thought they were doing God's work, they died by the fucking millions. And all the people on top were like, I don't fucking. Is there a God? Is there a God? I don't even know. I don't know, but we're about to be rich as fuck. Oh, man. By the way, I didn't say this at the beginning. I wrote this in the description, but the last half of this, I'm going to play South of Midnight. We're going to raise the witchy child. Is it still a sin to lust and not act upon it? Man, I can go really deep into fundamental Christianity with you. Compression therapy. What is that? Compression therapy. Is that a thing? Is that a real thing? What do you do? Like squeeze your balls every time so your body associates arousal with pain in your balls? Or spill my seed upon the earth. Oh man. Yeah, you just gotta beat it. No nut November. Weirdest fucking thing ever. By the way, as usual, anti-science. Guess what happens to your testosterone the longer you don't have sex, right? There's a buildup, but guess what happens the longer you don't have sex? Your testosterone starts to drop. Your semen count, sperm count decides to drop. Your body is very good at, I guess we don't need this anymore. That's why there's a lot of medicines, like especially like mental health meds, that you'll fucking start going nuts if you stop them, because your body, whatever the mental health meds were putting in you, your body's like, oh well, shit, there's enough of that. I'm not making it. The longer you don't have sex, the lower your libido and the lower your sperm count. So this, I hate it here. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. What are we talking about? Let's get into it. We're definitely, I spoke for way too long. So we're definitely not getting into any democracy now. There was a segue that I had and I lost it because I went on some wild tangent. I don't even know how I got there. But for some odd reason, tonight my brain is working pretty well. And I remember the segue. And I remember where I was going about 45 minutes ago. And that was me looking at Viola Tree and telling them, oh, you said that. You say that about deporting Americans. Check this shit out. Has anybody seen this? Anybody seen this? Check this out. So it's choppy. But and I think it's the type of camera that's here. No one's denied it. If this ends up being AI, I doubt it's AI, because this has been spread. But check this out.
Demanded the people wanted to change everything, and they wanted. He demanded they love you. They love what you do. You know, I'm not feel supportive. I want him to do. Homegrown criminals next. Yeah. I said homegrown.
So if you didn't hear, most of it was unintelligible. But then he says, most of them criminals. And then he's about to say something very, very interesting. You heard him already say homegrowns. Well, he hasn't said anything yet. It was if there was captioning, it would be in brackets. It would go unintelligible whispering.
Next, the homegrown's built. You got to build about 5 more places. Yeah. That's fair. All right. It's not.
The homegrowns are next. You're going to need to build about 5 more places.
Not big enough. No, yeah. Come on. So this is a much different office than you're. Demanded the people wanted to change everything, and they wanted.
Whisper, 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 whisper.
You know, I'm not feel supportive. I want him to do. Homegrown criminals next. Yeah. I said homegrowns are next.
The homegrowns are next.
You got to build about 5 more.
You're gonna have to build about 5 more. He's talking about sending homegrown. So what does it mean to be homegrown? That means you're not a green card holder. You're not here on a student visa. You're not here undocumented. He's literally talking about, with another president of El Salvador, that homegrowns are next. That he is going to ship and deport Americans. That's what he wants to do. Now, maybe he was just joking around, right? Maybe he was just joking around.
New ones were going to be built.
I'd do something. We'd help them out. Yeah, we help them. They're great facilities, very strong facilities, and they don't play games. I'd like to go a step further. I mean, I said it to Pam. I don't know what the laws are. We always have to obey the laws, but we also have homegrown criminals that push people into subways that hit elderly ladies on the back of the head with a baseball bat when they're not looking, that are absolute.
I hate when that happens. You know, the old hit him on the back of the head when they're not looking trick. So it's getting old, really. Just happens way too much, honestly. Oh, that doesn't happen in Spain, Viola? You know, people, you know, you don't have these like all these people walking around being like, we call it the batters up, right? Batters up, and then, you know, we've lost, I don't know, probably 1-2 million old ladies that way.
Monsters. I'd like to include them in the group of people to get them out of the country, but you'll have to be looking at the laws on that, Steve, okay?
He is not kidding when he says, oh, food's almost here. Yeah. He is not kidding when he says that he wants to deport Americans. To him, that is, he's like, why not? Well, why not? Is there a law? Is there a law against it? Okay, let's get the law changed. They have these giant facilities in El Salvador. Let's get these people the fuck out of here. And El Salvador's like, yeah, let's go. Let's do this. The president of El Salvador is Nayib Bukele. What's funny about Nayib is that this dude started off as a leftist. He worked for he was a part of a communist militia group in El Salvador. And shitty people are going to be shitty people. And eventually he started getting into politics, and then he moved right, some more, and then he moved right some more. And now he's doing a Duterte in El Salvador. He's cleaned up El Salvador by doing extrajudicial killings in the streets, you know, police massacres, and just arresting people off of a whim. So if there's anybody in Latin America that's like, yeah, send them our way. So let me ask you a question. Does anybody think they're doing this for free? That motherfucker's like, yeah, send them over here. How you gonna pay me how much to keep them here? Shit. I don't give a fuck. I do not give two shits if they are American. If you pay me that amount of money. Free money. You just have to print it, that's all. And that's exactly what they're doing. They are putting them into slavery. I made a post about this in Threads. I said, if you already understand that the 13th Amendment did not do away with slavery, but only evolved it, just changed it, right? Because it even says verbatim in the Constitution that that slavery is abolished, except for as a punishment of crime. Like in the United States Constitution, there is literally a line in there that says slavery is A-okay if it's a punishment for a crime. Land of the free, home of the brave, leader of the free world. Come on. Check this shit out. Wait. Man mistakenly deported to El Salvador is alive and secure, the U.S. says. A man was mistakenly deported from the state of Maryland to a mega jail in El Salvador, is alive and secure, a U.S. official has told the judge. The update on Kilomar Abrego Garcia's condition came days after the U.S. Supreme Court ruled, right, that the Trump administration should facilitate his release and return to the U.S. It is my understanding. So, like a 9-0 decision. I don't know how I forgot that word. A 9-1 decision against a ruling. That's why I was. Yeah. Anyways, against Trump we'll never see that again. To say, you got to bring him back. You can't do that. President Donald Trump is due to sit down on Monday with his counterpart from El Salvador, where he has sent more than 200 migrants who he alleges are gang members, alleges with no due process, where they look at things like tattoos. Do you have a tattoo? Then you get in there. Get in there, homie. One dude had a Real Madrid tattoo, and he got sent there. Or arrested. He was arrested and detained, put into a detention center, and then I don't think he went to El Salvador though. But yeah, Real Madrid. Wild. No proceeding. We're not even talking about like a kangaroo court. We're not even talking about like, oh, and they're just rushing him through, right? Because then they can like argue, well, they are getting due process. You know, I'm sorry, you don't trust the system, right? They could just kind of bullshit their way through it. But they're literally not even pretending to have a due process. They're saying, oh shit, you're brown. You got papers? You don't have papers? You can't prove you're here? Let me see. Oh shit, what is that weird old tattoo there? Damn, what's that? New York Jets. It's a New York Jets tattoo. I don't know who the fuck that is. Get in the bus. You're going to El Salvador. I wonder if he should be deported for his 34 felony convictions. Yeah. Have him fucking go there. If anyone believes he's doing it for free, I was swampland in Florida. I'd like to sell you. Yep. Do you think the Maryland guy is still alive? I do. Are you talking about Khalib? Or no, he was out of he was New York. Who's in Maryland? Maryland man deported. Kilmar Armando, deportation. Show full article. Let's see. Some of President Trump's top aides on Monday misstated several key facts involving the deportation of a Maryland man to El Salvador last month, blatantly contradicting other members of the administration who have maintained for weeks that his expulsion was an administrative error. Wait, is this the same dude? Oh, this is the same guy. Same guy. Yeah, this is the Maryland. I'm sorry. All right. The bodies at that place on Google Maps. Oh, Jesus. So he is alive and secure in that facility. However, the Supreme Court had which has a 6-3 conservative majority, weighed in on the case this week and unanimously backed the order to help facilitate his release. On Friday, Judge Chinis directed the Trump administration to provide her with daily updates on what steps were being taken to bring Mr. Abrego Garcia back to the U.S. In court documents, Mr. Abrego Garcia's lawyers accused the U.S. government of trying to delay, obfuscate, and flout court orders while a man's life and safety is at risk. Mr. Abrego Garcia's 29, entered the U.S. from El Salvador illegally as a teenager. In 2019, he was arrested with 3 other men in Maryland and detained by federal immigration. So this right here is why I guarantee you most of the country doesn't give a fuck. Like, every single person should be absolutely terrified about what direction this government is going in. And that right there is going to make it to where, shit, I wouldn't even say, 47, 48%, because I'm just talking about, like, Trump. I guarantee you there's plenty of Democrats who don't give a fuck about this dude. We probably got more than half the countries going, yeah, that's fine. But those other two, that's pretty fucked up. But this is okay. But this, I'm not gonna lie, the Supreme Court weighing ruling this way, I would have lost all my money because I would have bet the house that they were gonna uphold it because it was illegal. Like if it was any of the other two that were green card holders and student visas, then not student visas, but were green card holders, then yeah. He was subsequently granted protection from deportation on grounds that he might be at risk of persecution from local gangs in his home country. Trump told reporters this week that if Supreme Court said bring somebody back, I would do that. I respect the Supreme Court. His meeting with Salvadorian President Nayib Bukele is due to take place at the White House on Monday. Their future is up to the president. Be in his government. They will never threaten or menace our citizens again. How bad of you to fuck up for raggedy ass Clarence Thomas to rule against you. For real. For real. I bet you he didn't want to. I bet you he was like, he rolled his eyes and they caught him like, they probably caught him like half asleep. He was like, whatever. He was taking a nap in his office. There's no way he did that shit on purpose.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to have a friend of mine because we went through this together and got along very well for my entire period of time. So I knew him as a very young man. Now he's just a young man, and he's done a fantastic job. Mr. President, it's an honor to have you.
Thank you.
You're doing incredibly for your country. You have one hell of a president.
The hell?
I know him as a very young man, Marco. Even younger than you. You know, he started pretty young. And,
He'll always be younger.
young at heart. But I want to thank you for the great job you're doing. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, it's an honor to be here in the Oval Office with the president. We're very happy, and we're very eager to.
Now, did he sell those people to El Salvador? Well, yeah, I guess he did, right? No. Yeah. Yes. Yes, he did. What's going on here? What is this me or is
And
it
we're a
them?
small country, but if we can help, we will do it. And we actually turned. That was the journalists call it, right? Murder cap of the world into the safest country in the Western Hemisphere. You know, if they saw.
Oh, the time is going. This is the White House's shit is jank. You know what? They probably fired everybody in the communications, and they just have the secretary like, can you run this shit? Can you like hook this up?
350 million people.
Sir, you fired all the communications people. You said that they were putting bugs in your coffee. That they were planting bugs in your.
People to liberate. That's right. You cannot just free the criminals and think crime is going to go down magically. You have to imprison them so you can liberate 350 million Americans that are asking for the end of crime and the end of terrorism. And it can be done.
That's an interesting statement. 350 million Americans are asking to do this. Do you believe that? Do you believe that, you fucking idiot?
I mean, you're doing it already. And I'm sure that people have seen the change in the streets. A long way to go because you're just initiating your second term. But it's clear that with the numbers at the border, with even in Democrat-run cities, they get a help from the work you're doing. So I'm really happy to be here, honored, and eager to help.
Well, we had a terrible thing happen. We had an administration that allowed people to come in freely into our country from not only South America, but from all over the world, many from the Congo and Africa, Asia, all over the world, Europe, rough parts of Europe. And
did I miss any continents? Antarctica. Um, Australia, and they want me to call it Oceania, and I'm not gonna. I was raised to call the continent was Australia, not Oceania. But they're sending their worst.
They came from prisons, and they came from mental institutions, and they came from gangs and the gangs of Venezuela and other places.
So I learned something interesting the other day on the Majority Report. If you guys are not listening to Sam Cedar, the Majority Report, you guys are missing out. You are worse for it. But I learned something from the Majority Report, and it was I kept wondering where this whole they're getting released from mental asylums. Like they get released from mental asylums and they come here. And the only thing that people can guess is that he heard that they are here seeking asylum, which is not the same thing as a mental asylum. And he didn't know what that was. And he thought people were telling him that they were from mental asylums. And he just went with that. Yeah.
And hundreds of thousands and even millions of them came. 21 million people altogether, but many of the people that came, just a tremendous percentage of them were criminals, in some cases violent criminals. We had 11,088 known murderers. Half of them murdered more than one person. This was allowed by a man who, what he did to our country is just unbelievable. So we're straightening it out. We're getting them out. But what they did and what that party did to our country, open borders, anybody could come in. As soon as I heard that, I said, every prison's going to be emptied out into our country.
Never had open borders. Definitely one of the things that was the shittiest about Biden, one of the shittiest, right? You know, like funding and arming a genocide, I would say is probably at the top there. But one of the shittier things was the amount of fucking people he turned away at the border. Like even right now, this is something that I don't think a lot of people, you know, his people definitely are not saying. March 2025, Trump deporting people at a slower rate than Biden's last year in office. A slower rate. I want you guys to think about that. We got all this insanity going on right now. Picking up people off the streets, ICE entering schools in Florida. Like, we have all this going on, and Biden was deporting people at a larger amount. That's how we know the media is completely and absolutely just broken. Because no, like we can't show that. That's gonna hurt the Democratic Party. Like don't talk about that. Talk about how we're helping with labor and stuff. Don't worry about that stuff. I'll tell you one thing that we definitely that people called and is happening is all the memes I saw about how suddenly children in immigration detention centers are going to be bad again. That's good. At least we can make them bad again. Never mind that they expanded and grew under Biden, but now they're bad again.
That's what happened. And we're straightening it out. And we just had numbers. We had the.
So Trump's going to talk a little faster. He is not. I'm just speeding it up. He's not actually. He still has dementia.
Highest recruiting numbers in the history of our country going into police departments. And a year ago, we had the lowest numbers. You couldn't hire a
biggest change.
Yeah. Nobody's
the
ever
lowest
seen.
to the highest.
And the military now, Marines, the Army, Air Force, Coast Guard, every slot is. I mean, we have the best numbers we've ever had. We call it recruitment numbers, and we've never had anything like it. We had records on at every single level, But very important, the policemen.
Jesus.
The policemen are joining forces now that we really big like this. This is the biggest deal ever made. Now we're making $3 billion a day.
In the media.
Well, they get out with the fake news, you know, like CNN over here.
Actually, what you're doing with the border is remarkable. Actually, what you're doing with the border is remarkable. It's dropped, what, 95%? It's incredible.
As of this morning, 99%. 99.
This is the most scuffed fucking, like, what the fuck is going on here? Now there's like this bass rumbling.
0.1% to be exact.
Why are those numbers not in the media?
Well, they get out with the fake news, you know, like CNN over here doesn't want to put them out because they don't like putting out good numbers. They only like putting out because I think they hate our country actually.
Yeah, that's
But it's a shame. You're right. Isn't that a great question? Why don't they put out numbers?
Yeah, 99%. I mean, it's crazy, right?
We're doing
It's
great.
a crazy turnaround.
Christy, could you maybe say a couple of words about the border, how we're doing?
You know, it's just been absolutely phenomenal what a great leader can do. Clear direction, our laws matter. We should only have people in our country that love us, and the Border Patrol and our ICE officers and law enforcement officers have done fantastic work. So we're proud of them. Now we just need to get the criminals and murderers and rapists and dangerous gang members and terrorist organizations out of our country. So, Mr. President Kelly, we thank you very much for your partnership. It has been wonderful for us to be able to have somewhere to send the worst of the worst and someone to partner with. And we'd like to continue that partnership because it's been a powerful message of consequences. Mr. President, you wanted people to know that there was consequences if you break our laws and harm our people and endanger families.
And boy, did you show them now, you know, there's consequences if you don't break the laws. You know, like we're going to be so good at what we do that you're going to get consequences whether you did anything. You know, like do nothing, consequences. Here legally, consequences.
Well, what's the last thing you do? And he said, well, I shot a cop in the leg, but I didn't kill him. I just shot him in the leg. And we're like, this guy was arrested 6 times here in the United States, 6 times. He was released 6 times. And in the last, he was released 5
Straight
times.
to jail.
The last time he was sent to El Salvador, right? So he's not getting released. But the last time he shot a cop, actually. And
For
he shot him in the
real.
leg. So these are, you know.
He is that dude.
Yeah,
he's the South
there's
American
something broken.
The liberal establishment.
president.
But they're not running things anymore.
You
in
say
this country.
you say something
We're,
bad about the
run
president?
by- and I don't say
Straight to jail.
conservative. I don't say anything. We're run by people with great common sense.
Yeah, common sense.
Because it's all common sense.
Yeah.
It's not liberal conservative. It's common sense.
Exactly.
And, like, do you allow men to play in women's sports? Do you allow men to box your women and box? Because I know you have a lot of boxing. in your
That's
country.
violence.
That's abusive. of
Violence
women.
against women.
It's abusive. of
Totally.
women. But we have people that fight to the death.
Oh,
because
they care
think
about
should be
women.
Able to play in women's sports, and
Oh, well, that's nice. They, you know, like suddenly, you know, it is really, you know, it is a burden on trans folks, unfortunately. But you know, now conservatives care about women and women's sports after a lifetime of making fun of both. And treating both like shit. Well, they still treat both like shit. Still don't want to pay, you know, women athletes, and still treat women like shit. But they care now, right? Something like that. Trump deporting criminals is the epitome of no honor among thieves, for sure. Since when do we have gladiatory games? He said beat people fighting to the death. Yeah. Yeah. This is a moron.
some of those sports it wouldn't matter much, but it still matters. But some of them are very dangerous for women.
Some years ago, like we said, a decade ago or so, women rights movements were pressuring so that we enacted specific laws to avoid men abusing women. And I think those laws were great because there were a lot of men abusing women. But now some of the same people are trying to backtrack on that and actually trying to make new laws allowing men to abuse women in a sport. So actually, that doesn't
do
make
it in
sense.
sports.
It doesn't make sense.
It's crazy. You know, they have lifting records, right?
Yeah.
A woman gets up, lifts weights, she's incredible. A guy gets up and beats her by 100 pounds. What are you going to do? A record that hadn't been broken in 18 years. You know, they put on an ounce, quarter of an ounce, eighth of an ounce for 18 years. Now they have a guy come up, ping. The whole thing is crazy. But they can.
So these are a bunch of things that don't happen, and they're just sitting there. Like this These are world leaders in a room that has a ridiculous amount of gold in it. Has it always been like that? Did he change it? If it's always been like that, it's always been tacky. It's always been tacky. But this is not happening. Trans women are not dominating sports. Like, if this were the case, if this were real, this is something I also learned recently. That did you all know? Are you guys aware of the movie Lady Ballers? That stupid Daily Wire movie that they made that was supposed to be about a bunch of dudes who sucked at basketball. So they decided that they were going to say they were trans and join a women's league so they can win. And obviously it's horribly transphobic, made by horribly transphobic people. The most homophobic and transphobic people who wanted to dress up as women in women's clothing for however long it took to film this movie. It was originally supposed to be a documentary. It was originally supposed to be a documentary, and what they were going to do was they were going to have this experiment. They were going to expose trans women in sports. And welcome to the Talking Monkey channel. This man will show you what an idiot is. Oh, no, it's not. That is I wouldn't blame the channel. This is Washington Examiner. Yeah, Washington Examiner. And he's not a monkey, that's the president. That's rude. Don't call him a monkey. That's the president of the United States. You got to respect the position. Respect the office, Bill Henry. They thought that it was going to be easy to expose trans athletes by getting men to go through and enroll and try to join women's leagues. And then they were going to have hidden cameras and they were going to show these dudes doing this. And guess what they couldn't fucking do? They could not join these leagues. And so they made it into a movie instead, just to make fun. They couldn't do the thing. It was almost like there was a bunch of regulations that had to do with taking hormones and all this shit, right? There was all these regulations to increase the fairness, and they couldn't do it. It's almost as if you can't just be a cis dude, say you're a girl, and go break records. It's weird. It's almost as if this talking monkey is a fucking liar. An absolute fucking piece of shit liar.
Continue to fight. And I don't like talking about it because I want to save it for just before the next election. I said, my people, don't even talk about it because they'll change. And, but I watched this morning, there was a congressman fighting.
Wait, what did he say? Hold on.
An ounce the whole thing is, I want to save it for just before, but they continue to fight. And I don't like talking about it because I want to save it for just before the next election. I said,
I don't want to talk about it because I want to save it for just before the next election. Does he think he's running a third time? Interesting.
My people, don't even talk about it because they'll change. And, but I watched this morning, there was a congressman fighting to the death for men to play against women in sports. And you say to yourself, why?
That's weird because I saw a congressman fighting to the death to not fund free school lunches for children in their public schools. And this is what I mean about the core of conservatism just being heartless corruption and greed, where if we look at if we do a test and we have a bunch of conservatives, let's see, trans people are less than 1% of the population, and even less trans people are, what did they say? It was single digits, or like something like, I think it was single digit trans athletes across all of the NCAA, all of the collegiate sports. Single digits. And none of them were fucking record breakers, by the way. And leaders of our nation are taking the time and energy and passion to make sure that those people don't get to play sports, right? So we got that. Then we have another congressman fighting to feed children, fighting to not feed children in public schools. And which one does our awesome, great, powerful president think is ridiculous? Interesting.
What are they doing, right? What are they doing? But your country's not too big in that.
No, of course not. We're big in protecting women.
Good. That's right. It's a very important
Yeah.
form of protection, too.
And as you can see, most of my cabinet are women, so.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's why you're
And they're
running.
not DEI hires or anything.
They
They're
can
just
be-
great at what they do, right?
That's right. This is very impressive.
Yeah,
This is a first. We've had women, but we've never had 3 of them right here. That's
4 and 3
And
men.
look who we have. You guys feel a little bit mistreated? That's good. I like it. But we've been advanced. I've been very advanced in that regard too. We have Pam, who's been so
Yes, I know.
fantastic.
Let's see here. Remembering victims of femicide in El Salvador. Every 11 minutes, a woman or girl is killed by an intimate partner or family member. Tragically, this kind of gender-based violence happens in every region of the world. El Salvador is particularly a dangerous place to be a woman. Between 2019 and 2022, an average of 23,398 cases of gender-based violence were reported a year. There were 565 convictions for violent murders of women and 319 cases determined to be femicide, an intentional killing with a gender-related motivation. Driven by factors including discrimination against women and girls and unequal power relations between women and men. UNFPA works in El Salvador and around the world as part of the Spotlight Initiative to prevent gender-based violence and support survivors. One key initiative in El Salvador is the Women at the Center program. Launched in April 2023 with the support of Takeda Pharmaceutical Company Limited, the program trains social workers to recognize women and girls at risk of violence and provide immediate support. It also operates in Azerbaijan, Indonesia, Madagascar, and Zimbabwe. In El Salvador, we believe in protecting women by not letting trans women participate in sports with women. But is a particularly dangerous place to be a woman, with 319 of the 565 murdered women being murdered literally because they were women. What do you think their numbers are for trans murders? Fuck you. Fuck you.
Christy.
Fucking dictator,
powerful woman,
fascist
they say.
I
dictator.
know, exactly.
She's rated.
They're all afraid of her.
Susie Wells, they say, oh, she's tough. Most powerful woman in the world, according to magazines. What do I know?
Nobody knows who the fuck Susie Wells is. Shut the fuck up.
So wrong. Yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. You repeatedly mentioned last night that Russia's attack on Ukraine was a mistake. What is the exact mistake? Have you given Putin a deadline
Yeah.
to actually move towards ceasefire?
The mistake was letting the war happen. If Biden were competent, and if Zelensky were competent, and I don't know that he is. We had a rough session with this guy over here. He just kept asking for more and more. That war should have never been allowed to happen. That war, I went 4 years.
Yes, I saw. That's why I knew I was gonna come in here and, kiss your ass a little bit and make sure that doesn't happen to me because I love you. Really, I don't love you. I love the money you give me to build this concentration camp for you, but money's money.
And Putin wouldn't even bring it up. And as soon as the election was rigged and I wasn't here, that war started. There was no way that war should have been allowed to happen. And Biden.
Isn't this interesting? The spin is, I didn't want the. If I were president, I would have never let the war start. Before he became president, he said that war is going to be over day one, believe me. And now he can't because, hey, I'm trying here, but Biden fucked it up so bad. It would have never happened if I was the president. I thought it was supposed to be over in day one. We're 6 days away from your third month as president, and it's still going. It's still going. We're still sending bombs. The the military industrial complex is still making billions on billions. What's going on?
You should have stopped it, and you take a look at Putin. I'm not saying anybody's an angel, but I will tell you, I went 4 years, and it wasn't even a question. He would never, and I told him, don't do it. You're not going to do it. And it was the apple of his eye, but there was no way that he would have done it. All you had to do is lower oil prices. If you lowered oil prices, Biden kept the prices so high because he made it impossible to get it. If you lowered oil prices, you wouldn't have had the war. But you wouldn't have had it with me anyway. That war would have never happened. And I think it's a great abuse. So now what do? You get a country where 25% of its land is gone, and the best locations, where millions of people are killed. You haven't reported accurately the death. And this was Biden's war, and I'm trying to stop it. And I think we're going to do a good job. I hope we're going to do it. They lose 2,500 young people.
This war will be over day one. It will be. Now I hope we get, I hope, I don't know. Why? Because he is holding on to Putin's pocket.
A week, think on average. Now they're Russians and they're Ukrainians, but it's 2,000, we don't care. It's like whatever it is. They're not from your country, they're not from mine, but I want to stop it. 2,500 is a killing field. It's like the Civil War. You take a look, I look at the satellite pictures. This should not be happening in our time, of course, our time. That's how they won their first big battle with the tanks that got stuck in the mud. Three people. I would say 3 people. Let's say a fan of Trump. I understand that just from what I read and from what I've been told. The attacker basically wasn't a fan of anybody. It's probably just a whack job. And certainly a thing like that cannot be allowed to happen. Okay. I have a great relationship with this man. I have the best relationship with him. We've known each other. I've known him since he was a very young man, as I said, very, very like a teenager.
He had been illegally in our country, and in 2019, 2 courts, an immigration court and an appellate immigration court, ruled that he was a member of MS-13 and he was illegally.
Oh, here we go.
Answer that. Rated. Which one is that? Well, let me ask Pam. Would you answer that question?
Sure, President. First and foremost, he was illegally in our country. He had been illegally in our country. And in 2019, 2 courts, an immigration court and an appellate immigration court, ruled that he was a member of MS-13 and he was illegally in our country. Right now, it was additional paperwork had needed to be done. That's up to El Salvador if they want to return him. That's not up to us. The Supreme Court ruled, President, that if, as El Salvador wants to return him, this is international matters, foreign affairs, if they wanted to return him, we would facilitate it, meaning provide a plane.
So will you return him?
And you are doing a great job. Thank you, Pam. Stephen Miller, wait a minute. Could you just also respond to that question? Because, it's asked by CNN, and they always ask it with a slant because they're totally slanted because they don't know what's happening. That's why nobody's watching them. But would you answer that question also, please?
Yes. So, as Pam mentioned, there's an illegal alien from El Salvador. So, with respect to you, he's a citizen of El Salvador. So, it's very arrogant even for American media to suggest that we would even tell El Salvador how to handle their own citizens as a starting point. As 2 immigration courts found that he was a member of MS-13. When President Trump declared MS-13 to be a foreign terrorist organization, that meant that he was no longer eligible under federal law, which I'm sure you know, you're very familiar with the INA, that he was no longer eligible for any form of immigration relief in the United States. So we had a deportation order that was valid, which meant that under our law, he's not even allowed to be present in the United States and had to be returned because of the foreign terrorist designation. This issue was then, by a district court judge, completely inverted, and a district court judge tried to tell the administration that they had to kidnap a citizen of El Salvador and fly him back here. That issue was raised to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said the district court order was unlawful, and its main components reversed 9-0 unanimously, stating clearly that neither Secretary of State, nor the President could be compelled by anybody to forcibly retrieve a citizen of El Salvador from El Salvador, who again is a member of MS-13, which, as I'm sure you understand, rapes little girls, murders women, murders children, is engaged in the most barbaric activities in the world, and I can promise you, if he was your neighbor, you would move right away.
So you don't plan
But
to
the
ask
Supreme
for
Court's
anything to
asking
get it
to.
So are we telling the truth? Is there anything more about this dude's history that you're not telling us? Like maybe he ended up not being MS-13, and this is why this happened in 2019, and he was never in prison. Maybe. Yeah, but let's look it up. Well, let's look it up while they lie to us some more.
And what was the ruling in the Supreme Court, Steve? Was it 9-0?
Yes, it was a 9-0
In our favor.
in our favor against the district court ruling, saying that no district court has the power to do
You see how like they spin that? 9-0, they said that you have to facilitate him coming back. But they're like, you're like, no. They said that it was the opposite. It was 9 favor for us because they said we only had to facilitate him coming back. Like, okay.
how the foreign policy function of the United States. As Pam said, the ruling solely stated that if this individual, at El Salvador's sole discretion, was sent back to our country, that we could deport him a second time. No version of this legally ends up with him ever living here because he is a citizen of El Salvador. That is the president of El Salvador. Your question about for the court can only be directed to him.
I asked.
¿Usted lo liberaría, presidente?
Can President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to return him?
Well, I'm supposed to be not suggesting that I smuggle a terrorist into the United States, right?
It's
I mean,
always
how can I smuggle? How can I return him to the United States? Like I smuggle him into the United States, or what do I do? Of course, I'm not going to.
Well, it depends. It depends. That's actually a really good statement. It's a good point he's bringing up. If you're a stupid person, if you maybe have like a brain injury, or you huffed a lot of glue, maybe gasoline, like if that was like your main drug, like your main way to get high for a long period of time, you would probably think that's a good point. You know, like what are you supposed to do? Smuggle him back in? Or you can say, hey, we'll give you this guy back. I heard the Supreme Court said that you have to come pick him up, so here you go. But yeah, smuggle him in. That's a thing. Good night, man eater. Good night. Good night.
Do it. It's like
This is absolute shit. I hate when I do that. I don't even know where I was. God damn it. See what you did, Judah. You come here like twice a year, and then you make me accidentally jump on the thing, and I don't even know where the fuck I was.
He probably is.
congratulations.
And you know, Stephen has done such a great job.
Woman. And I think those last words.
And there, I support you. Go ahead. Let's hear the question from this very low-rated anchor at CNN.
What a fucking rude, like he's just an absolute embarrassing piece of shit. Like it's like a teenage move. It's a yeah. Let's hear it. Let's hear it from the big doo-doo head. Let's hear it from the stupid face that doesn't even probably sucks at her job.
Low-rated. Which one is that?
The man who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador.
Well, let me ask.
Shut the fuck up. We're not hearing all that again. Fuck all you guys. I hate your voices so goddamn much. Eat shit. I hope a fucking giant.
Not by a court.
I hope nothing but the worst things for all of these people. No, yeah, 100%. This is bad. I do want to fact check some shit they said though, but
Here you legally get expelled from the country, which, by the way,
shut the
I've
fuck
never
up.
seen anybody get that kind of. That was the highest mark. That are dangerous, not just people, because we have people, but we have millions. I'd do something. We'd help them out. Yeah, we help them. They're great facilities, very strong facilities, and they don't play games. I'd like to go.
It's also illegal. I mean, it's also illegal. So it's like a Call of Duty. Yeah, exactly. You are not lying. Like our president, our freaking orange fucking piece of shit, is sitting there acting like, go ahead. Yeah. Yep. Nope. You were supposed to cap. You were supposed to cap Delta and you didn't. Okay, everybody shut up. Like, let's hear it. Let's hear the fucking greatest Call of Duty player to, he wants to say something. Everybody be quiet. It is illegal to send legal residents to a foreign country. It is illegal to deport members to a country that is not their country of origin. Like, we couldn't send, like, this is how you know these people are nothing but, like, the most just racist, dumbest people. Because you know who's not being sent there? Asians aren't being sent to El Salvador. Haitians aren't being sent to El Salvador. But Mexicans are being sent to El Salvador. If you are Hispanic, you're being sent. Why? Because it's all the same thing. You are breaking international law because you think all Hispanics are the same. Fucking idiots.
Step further. I mean, I said it to Pam. I don't know what the laws are. We always have to obey the laws, but we also have homegrown criminals that push people into subways, that hit elderly ladies.
Wait, homegrown. We were talking about this earlier. Homegrown. I think he means American citizens, because that's what happens when you're born here. When you're homegrown, that another phrase is that he's looking for is American citizen. What does he have to say about American citizens?
He's on the back of the head with a baseball bat when they're not looking.
Oh yeah,
that are absolute monsters. I'd like to include them in the group of people to get them out of the country, but you'll have to be looking at the laws on that, Steve. Okay?
And do you think more presidents should follow suit like you guys as far as taking a hard stance on crime?
Well, I do. I think everybody has to. I mean, the president said it better than anybody. He said, you have liberty and you have to have liberty, but to have liberty, not everybody is going to be good. And, some are bad because they're sick. They're mentally deranged. They're bad. And you have to take them. If you're going to have a country, you're going to have to take those people out. And we've been doing that. But this was like an unforced error, they would call it, where we had people that may hate our country, or maybe they're just stupid people.
Oh God, I hate this motherfucker so goddamn much. Like, there are very few human beings in my life that just make me like sick, like with anger. Oh yeah. You want to talk about a blind watch that I want to watch before I start South of Midnight? That is what I wanted to watch. FD signifiers, I might need to update my post-election takes, and I have no. Yeah, I literally just talked about this, Judah. If you were here more often to see your friends stream, you would have said, "Oh my God, I know, right?" And then we would have all gotten to laugh together. But instead, I see the name Judah Rad in this stream like twice a year, and I get all excited and happy. But then I have to remind myself, like, don't get too happy. He does this, and he gets your hopes up, and things are good for a moment. Things are good for just a little bit. And you think it's going to last, and it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't ever last. And I want you to know it hurts. Maybe if you stream more than twice a year, holy shit. I have streamed every Monday the past 3 Mondays. No, that's good. I like it when that happens. It's good. That's a live stream is I'm gonna tell you the truth. I could talk. The first hour I just fucking ranted into the camera, so I could talk if I needed to. But it is much easier to stream when people are talking in the chat. Just so y'all know. Okay, so we're gonna shift gears real quick. The last thing we're gonna watch tonight is FD Signifier video. We're gonna watch an FD Signifier video. We were gonna watch this other one about this the Jubilee dude. I don't even have the video up, so look at that serendipity. I don't even know if that's the right word for it. Yeah, pause about something serious. I mean, pause and bitch about something serious. Go for it. But what we're gonna watch next after we after Judah says his piece, FD Signifier is definitely one of the smartest content creators out there. Definitely one of my favorite. I don't agree with everything that he's ever said. I think there are times where he gets where he lets personal like disagreements or personal like personality conflicts with people kind of like color how he whatever. And I recognize them for what they are, but like 99% of the time, it is beat for beat. I like the dude, and he's extremely smart. And he's taught me a lot of shit. When Harris lost the vote, his last video, and I could have misunderstood, but the last video he made seemed to indicate that he thought that, and this is definitely one of the ones that I disagreed with, that front and center, and really the only thing worth talking about. And by the way, some of these I'm putting into his mouth. Just my takeaways, right? My analysis. It seemed to say that that really the thing that was why Harris lost is because she's a black woman. Period. Dot. Which I'm not gonna lie, surprised me, because FD Signifier is the dude that you need to listen to when you are wanting to learn about black leftist activism. Like, this dude understands capitalism is the disease. He knows the history of Black Panthers, and it's not watered down and capitalist washed. The Black Panthers were communists, and so he's a smart unk. He is. So I was surprised, because you know who mainly thinks that it was all because she was a black woman is libs. Libs think that, like who ended up being like blue MAGA. That was but then he puts out this video, and I have not watched it. I have not watched a second of this video. I might need to update my post-election takes, and I have no idea where he's going to go. I have no idea. But considering his original take, which I strongly disagreed with, I'm curious about this. Judah says, I just got an alert from Texas about measles in El Paso. My child is at risk because of these fuckheads. They don't care. They don't care about your child. No, like, here's the thing that should make you, like, if you think you hate Christians, let me tell you something. If your child is trans and they are struggling, right? They are struggling, like many trans kids struggle. And you and your wife are going to support this child, and you are going to do anything you can to make sure that your child stays mentally healthy. These people do not give a fuck about parental rights. They don't give a fuck if you want to support your child in their trans identity, in them being trans. And they don't give a fuck if your child wants to punch the ejection seat button. If your kid wants to punch, and you know, after working with therapists, working with doctors, talking to your child, that you don't think that your child is long for this world if we don't get them the help they need, they will say, sorry, you raised your kid to be a devil worshiper, that doesn't understand God loves them. You sent your kid to hell. I mean, your kid was going to hell anyway, because, they're probably going to be Jewish, so. A Jewish atheist? That's like a double whammy. Kill Jesus and don't even believe in Jesus. all together. So, yeah. They'll say kidney Jesus. And I wish I was kidding. This is one of the things. There's certain things that I say, like, I can't imagine what it's like to listen to me regularly, because there's got to be like talking points that I'm like, man, he says that shit a lot. Like I've probably said this a lot. Christians don't care about any study that you have that talks about what is going to protect your kid. They don't. And I say Christians, but I mean like I'm mainly talking about fundamentalist Christians, right? Like if you're a progressive Christian, or you're a Christian that, et cetera, that doesn't believe in much, okay, that's fine. But I'm talking about like the mainstream Christianity in the United States, which is largely evangelical fundamentalism, is going to be that if someone dies, that's God's plan. God has a plan. God knows, counts every hair on your head, knows your name before you were born, all that stuff, right? Knows when a sparrow falls, and if he knows if these are the least of these, why would he not care about you? Blah 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 blah. And I'm telling you right now, they will tell you that don't worry about measles. God will protect your kid. And if it turns out that that is not true, then it was God's plan anyway. These people who think like this, these types of Christians, are the people in control of our country right now. And they have been in control of Texas for a very long time. The only thing holding back Texas from being what it is today was not having a Christo-fascist administration. But now that we have one, they're going fucking full speed ahead. Ever since 2016, full speed ahead. And they tried to slow him down a little bit, I guess. Not really. Fucking Biden sucks. But now that Trump is back in, engage, Mr. Sulu. Warp speed ahead. Let's check out. Unless you're a bad Christian, bad Jew, bad Muslim, and only slightly observe, you're part of the death cult. Yeah, 100%. 100%. And their power grid when it gets to 100 cult. Yeah. But that's okay, because you know what's great about that, though? Because the internet doesn't forget. What's great about that is that you could always just fly to like the Caribbean or Cancun or something. Like, act like it's a big deal. Like, okay, if you live in Texas and the power grid goes out, fly to Cancun. Duh. Jesus. How much of the Project 2025 have they got through? You know what? I haven't forgot, but I did forget to write it down. So there's going to be two things that scared the fuck out of me. I thought I spilled drink all over my keyboard, but it was empty. Thank God. How much? I'm gonna do the video still, but I am gonna ruin it because I have an answer for you. How much of the project? Yeah, P 2025 is done. Yeah, the answer is a lot. Where did I put that? Was that in my DSA Discord? No, I think I did put it in our Discord. General feels bad, man. I definitely want to add more. Do you guys think like one forum board, like kind of how we have the book club, would be good? Because I feel like it's like you have a topic and then you just click that and see the discussion happening. Otherwise, shit just gets lost. Definitely, I don't know if anybody followed Luigi updates on Threads. Unfollowed that insane person. Definitely started going anti-vax. God damn it. There was a fucking link that I just shared, but I can't find it. Let's see. Project 2025 tracker. Oh. Well, that was easy. Yeah. Check this out. This tracks the thing that every conservative, every MAGA said is not real and is just media hype. Every coworker of Judah's, everybody on the internet was like, it's just hype. You guys are ridiculous. But that's where we're at right now. He's approaching 50% of it done. So that's gonna be I think that's why I haven't done the video yet, is because I'm like, well, that's gonna be a big one. And I'm just not trying to feel I'm not trying to like do a video that takes that much work and gets like 70 views. That last video I did though, that did pretty all right. I got a couple thousand views on there. That was like, okay. I think I might get something here. All right, so we're gonna watch this FD Signifier, and then I'm gonna play about an hour south of midnight after. So if you guys haven't seen the gameplay yet, South of Midnight is a new game that's set in the Bayou South, and it comes from a black perspective, and it has a black story to tell, and apparently it is very emotionally heavy. So I will give a content warning. There is black pain in this game. So if that is not your thing, I understand if you have to duck out, but I think it is important to support it, because that is exactly. Why didn't that come in over here though? So it's woke. You don't want that depression. YouTube came over here, but not the. I don't get this thing sometimes. So yeah, refresh this thing. Let me refresh that bad boy. But I think it's important we support the games, like we talk about, like Ernie talks about, like on the Blurred Cave. Support black comics, support black games. Make sure that the stories are out there getting told, right? Support indigenous games. Support, I say it all the time. We cannot do this. We need the Rainbow Coalition, and if we can't get the Black and Brown Coalition down, we're definitely not getting the Rainbow Coalition. So nothing's changing. Yeah, that's cool, but I can't do it. Maybe I'll check in while you're playing. Maybe. No, I get it. I totally understand it. But until then, let's see if FT Signifier said, "Hey, I was watching this dude named Robo. He was over on Low Face. He doesn't, he needs more love." Dude was right. I was wrong.
Is sponsored by Nebula. Please stay tuned to the end of the video to find out more about how you can sign up for Nebula, so you can see my new short film, Talking to White People, which will only be available on Nebula. Now on to the show. As of writing, Donald Trump is essentially 2 months into his second term as president of the United States, and in many ways, he's been exactly what I and many others feared he might be, and in some ways, much worse. It was expected that Trump would do petty and ridiculous things like pardoning the perpetrators of the January 6th uprising, or doing a full-on commercial for Tesla at the White House, renaming the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America, and so on. But he's also done things that are more demonstrably harmful, such as cutting tons of jobs within the federal government. I know many people who are out of work right now because of cuts to federal jobs. He's also killed DEI programs in various places. His tariff war stuff has caused many problems with the economy. He has declared that there are only two genders. He's put incompetent and dangerous people in charge of important American government systems like education and health, with the vaccine denier / weirdo RFK and long-standing stooge Linda McMahon being over education. And that's even if he keeps the Department of Education, which it sounds like they're trying to get rid of. And then there's the intangibles. There's the emboldening of white supremacists across the country doing marches in major cities. Ben Shapiro is calling for the pardoning of Derek Chauvin, the man who murdered George Floyd.
But the only reason why they haven't done that yet is because because Trump literally cannot. If he could have, he would. This is something that Maneater just shared. Let's just watch this real fast. So this is a Guatemalan immigrant was in their car, and yeah, send it. And they just sat there and waited for immigration lawyers to show up.
I can't reach it. It's up by her. Here you go.
No esperaron a que la abogada se presentara, que llegara acá con nosotros y rompieron el vidrio. Y eso no, nosotros también tenemos derecho de estar acá, y entonces lo que hicieron fue injustamente y se llevaron a mi esposo sin que la abogada esté presente.
Mi abogada viene en camino. Pero hasta que venga mi abogada voy a hablar.
Y no pueden forzar la puerta, no pueden quebrarla.
You know what I would not be surprised about? I wouldn't be surprised 1 second if there nobody that could speak Spanish. Yo quiero hablar solamente.
Pero tiene una orden.
Usted tiene una orden de detención.
Tiene una orden.
Pero, disculpe, ¿tiene una orden? ¿Tienen una orden? ¿Me puede oír? Que si tienen una orden de detención. Una orden, ¿no?
Pues sí, una orden.
They don't have one. Can you lower the window, because it'll be easier to break if you do that?
Sí.
Pero
Sí, pero cuando está presente mi abogada.
Duro or fácil?
Ok, voy a grabar video por si acaso sucede. Ok, gracias.
Ah, bueno, que lo haga, Juan puto.
And they won't pay for that, by the way, unless they win a lawsuit.
I can't reach it. It's up by her. Here you go.
Nos sacaron forzadamente. A mí y a mi esposo. Me jalaron duro del carro. Nos jalaron. Y a mi esposo también lo trataron feo. Lo jalaron feo a él, a mí también.
Bueno, yo tengo que ver por mi cliente, tengo que ver cómo hago, más que seguro. Lo van a poner en un proceso en frente de la Corte de Inmigración, van a tener que pagar fianza para que le den de alta. El señor va a pasar unos días en la cárcel por la manera brutal en cual ellos lo trataron. Están actuando con impunidad y saben que ellos pueden hacer hasta romper un vidrio mientras personas están dentro del carro. Imagínate si hubiese habido niños en el carro. Es lo más vulgar, lo más brutal. Me da vergüenza este país, lo que se ha convertido. Es una pena.
We are a fucking shit country. We are a shit fucking country. It's not new news. We've always been a shit country.
Pero ¿por qué? Dígame por qué y deme la orden.
God damn it.
Deme la orden. Deme la orden. No, pues no me voy a bajar.
So they're asking for the warrant.
Si no me baja, si no,
No,
me,
you
no,
know?
deja que lo revienten.
No, if it's against... No! You guys cannot take her! Just because you guys want
No te preocupes, Karen, no te preocupes. Tranquilo. Tranquila, mamá.
You guys are fucked up!
Háblale a Ulises.
You act like you wouldn't
te preocupes, mamá. Todo va a estar bien.
Tenga cuidado, tenga cuidado.
Gracias.
Espérese, señora. Ponga el carro en parking.
Está parqueado.
Ok, déle el teléfono a su hija para poder sacarla sin que... Porque hay vidrio por todos lados.
No, yo voy a llevar mi teléfono.
Okay,
no se
está bien,
preocupe.
tenga cuidado. Despacio.
No se preocupe. Si me giro es su culpa. Wait! Espera. Don't grab her like that! Don't grab her like that! Yo voy bien.
Look at those fucking cowards with their mask on. Wait, what do we say? What happened with masks? I thought only cowards wore masks. Who the fuck are you, bitch?
Karen, llamarle a Ulises y se mueve en el carro. Oh my God. ¿Oíste? No te preocupes, mi amor. Yo estoy bien.
Ellos no pueden
no me importa.
Look, said she was no criminal record and is legally allowed to be in the country from El Salvador because she has a pending immigration case. So when you're here legally and you are seeking asylum, it is American law and international law that says that you be given a hearing to determine whether or not you are your claim for asylum is valid or not. During that time, you are here legally. Being here legally doesn't exist anymore. Yep. Remember, homegrowns are next. My dad called me today. Well, actually, I called my dad, and we were talking, and I was, and this is too much for him. And I'm embarrassed to say, but my parents were Trumpers, and we just don't talk about it. And and because we don't talk about it, I had no idea like where they were. I'm like, so are you still like digging Trump? He's like, fuck no. Like I think that this is gonna hurt the cult a little bit. But I don't know that if it's probably too late. Yeah, this shit almost made me cry right here. Yeah, that's. But it's not just the United States. Fuck, I forgot to remember what country this was in. What was this? This is like Denmark or some shit. This is undercover cops beating college students. Netherlands. Thank you. College kids protesting the genocide that's happening in Gaza. And here are pigs and how they get them to move. You know, maybe they're blocking the doors. Maybe they're doing some sort of disruption.
Come, don't run, stick together.
You know who trains these people? You know who trains American cops? You know who trains like for conflicts like this? I'll give you a hint. They're seen beating the fuck out of Jewish people who dare stand up for about what's happening in the West Bank. Sit. Ding, 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 ding. Don't say the Jews, dickhead. Israelis. Just real quick, just in case my good friend Judah decides to stick around. For moderators, Judah is my real life friend, and he is very Jewish. So if he says anything wild about Judaism, it's fine. It's fine.
Stick together! Is that Daisy? Fast thug, bro. Thug. Oh,
Yeah, my dad called me and he said, I sent him a picture because I was wearing my keffiyeh. And you know, I wanted my dad. And I wasn't trying to antagonize him or anything. I wanted them to get something from the other side because again, I don't talk about it anymore because it was getting heartbreaking and it was getting it was hurting our relationship, and I couldn't cut him off. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. So we just don't talk about it anymore. We pretend like politics are not a thing, because I want to have a relationship with my parents. But I sent them that picture because I know they think. Well, I don't know about what they think. I know that the news and are telling them that if you are supporting a free Palestine, if you are for a free Palestine, if you are protesting against the genocide, they have, in legislation too, by the way, made it so that you are supporting a terrorist organization. Like you are actively in protest and in solidarity with terrorism. And then what immediately follows is that you are cheering and calling for the genocide of Jewish people. That is the spin. That is where even some Democrats have been on board with. Right? And I'm telling, I was talking to my dad because he was like, hey, you need to be careful out there because not even, like exactly what Judah said earlier, not even American citizens are safe. Homegrowns are not safe. Oh, that's a shirt. Oh man, God, that's a goddamn shirt. Damn. Sorry. I still got bills to pay, okay? When we win, we can stop thinking about monetization. But I'm gonna make a shirt. Don't tell anybody. I'm gonna make a shirt called Homegrown. You know how like fucking chuds would be like, you know, wear infidel and shit, blah blah blah, deplorable. Mine's just gonna say Homegrown. We should all wear it. Hey man eater, can't see you in YouTube chat, but I have a incredible vision and can read you on screen. That's because she's in the Twitch chat. You silly goose. There's two groups. I would like the YouTube to get bigger, but typically the Twitch side is more active, more people in there. All right, let's get back to it. I think this is gonna be political, but it's a lot. Like whenever I talk about politics like this, I never want to cry. When I hear someone who sounds like my daughter crying, and I'm imagining, her having to watch this sort of violence of somebody she loves, that sucks. I can't stand that I have a chip tooth due to a hyperactive police officer. Fuck cops. I fucking hate cops. There is no due process. No one's a citizen. That's right. That's absolutely right. Early this month, a guy one county over passed away in police custody, and this weekend, a guy that ran over and killed a 10-year-old in the same county wasn't even arrested. Let's play Guess the Race of the Second Guy.
Other American corporations are following suit with the retreat of DEI and equity programs, which, although never really a good thing, were at least ostensibly supposed to serve underserved populations.
Are you saying I'm about to be disappointed? Am I going to be disappointed? Because this is 45 minutes. I'll start playing Stop the Midnight right now.
Most notably at Target, which has kicked off some kerfuffle among black folks and probably a litany of other things I can't think of.
Is this sped up? This should be sped up. So it shouldn't be 45 minutes. What is this? Oh, it's not sped up. All right, speed it up a little bit. Somebody do the math. We're not gonna watch the whole thing. This is an hour. Maybe should I save this for a Friday? Should we watch this on Friday? I feel like I kind of want to watch the whole thing, and it's gonna take longer than an hour, and I don't want to just like, all right, that was enough. Especially since CE Rouse, I see what CE Rouse shares. We're usually on the same page, so I want to watch it. Do y'all want to watch it on Friday? Because I think I want to start up South of Midnight. Oh. Let's move that bad boy over here. Actually, yeah, we're gonna have to do. Oh, you know what? I do not have a gaming scene. Interesting. None of that politics, though. What are you doing? Talking about politics? Let's make a gaming scene. South of Midnight. There we are. I was gonna say watch the first couple chapters, but it doesn't look like you marked it. No, and that's honestly that's my fault. That's my fault. I should have like gone through, found some stuff that I wanted to talk to. Game on Friday. I'm ready for cuddles. How long have we going? 2.5 hours. Well, think about all the money I could be making from for the next 30 minutes. No, you're right. All right. I have been summoned. I have been summoned. And so, ladies, gentlemen, and MBs. Ladies, gentlemen, and MBs. We're just gonna say that's the
Beta!
Hey, thanks for the follows. Thank you so much. Oh, I was wondering what that's. Oh, that's the game. That's the game. Oh, is it story? Is the story starting? No, stop. Stop. Enter. No, stop it. I'll control delete right now. No, stop. Stop. Stop the midnight. End task. I don't want to do that thing where if I skip it, then it's gonna be like, oh, you already skipped it, and then I don't know how to restart it. You know what I mean? So I don't want it to think I saw it. You know what I mean? Why, you just big timing us because your wife called? Yes, that's exactly what's happening. I don't know. Do you, man eater, as well? Easter, she's a man Easter. She doesn't. She is going to hell right with me. Ladies, gentlemen, and MBs, that is the show. I will tell you this much. I know the past couple Fridays have I've missed them. I know, but I think I've missed enough Fridays, and to where my guilt is at I've maxed out my guilt. Right, I'm at a maximum. So this Friday, I'm gonna remember I've missed the past 2 Fridays. I can't miss another one. So I'm probably gonna stream Friday, or maybe yes. If not, I'm pretty sure. No, there's no if not. There is no try. There's only do or do not. Right. I'm gonna stream on Friday, but if I don't see you on Friday, because I'll definitely be there. You know what I mean? You know me. If I say I'm gonna be somewhere, I'm gonna be somewhere. Ren Fair on Friday? You said Saturday. Wait, what is happening right now? We leave Friday? Oh my god. Is this one of those leave after work things? And then we gotta drive into the night, and then we don't get there till 2 in the morning, and then we wanna wake up early on your silly schedule where you gotta get all these things done. It reminds me of that Bob's Burgers thing. I'm gonna do it, but I'm not gonna be happy. I'm gonna complain. Oh shit. All right. Well, Let's hope this thing gets canceled. I love you guys. I want you guys to make sure to take care of yourselves. Thank you for the support. Thank you for being here. The only thing that I ask is, the only begging I'll do, the only like, please help me thing is, when I go live or when I post a video, please like and share. It's free. If you subscribe, if you give me some coffee money, that's good. That's awesome. That's always good. I'm not going to ever complain about that. When you guys donate during the Nerds of Culture, that's awesome too. But over here, what really would help is when I go live, just share. Just like and share and comment. And so for y'all who are here while I'm streaming, this is support. This is support that I need, right? And maybe that it doesn't feel like it being here, but it does help out the channel. Just being here, enjoying yourself. So thank you for that. I really do appreciate it. I will see you definitely on Thursday. I think Ernie has his second computer up and running. So I hope to see you on Thursday. If for some reason he's still having computer issues and his second computer is not ready, which I can't imagine it wouldn't be. But if for some reason it's not on Thursday, then I will 100% stream Left Face TV on Thursday. And that's when we'll do South of Midnight and watch FD Signifier's video. But if I know Ernie, he's gonna have that second computer up and running because he is on it, doggone it. And until then, I love you all. Take care of yourself, and don't forget to do that while you're taking care of others because you are of no use if you are a mess. Hydrate, get some sleep, get off the couch. Be a part of something. Go join an organization. We can't just sit here. Take care. Love you all.